Welcome back to the Strong Conversations podcast inside the Simpson Strong Tie booth here at the 2025 International Builder Show. I am Sam Marcoux, and I am joined, he's sitting on the couch right here, by Mr. Jeff Lear from Meritage Homes. Jeff, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing all right. Like you said, it is Thursday of the International Builder Show, so you can only imagine how I'm doing. But beyond that, hey, I wanted to take a second and just say thank you. Greatly appreciate this opportunity. And look forward to having a strong conversation with you.
100%. No, thank you. I appreciate this. I know you're a busy man. You, like you said, it's Thursday. I'm not sure which week of the International Builder Show. There's so much going on between meetings, travel, dinners, social events, your actual job happening at the same time while we're all here in Las Vegas getting to know each other once again. It is a lot to handle. It's a lot to juggle and balance. And you look good for the last day of IBS. I am struggling, but you look like day one. I look like day three.
I don't feel like day one, but I'll tell you what. This show, it keeps getting bigger. The attendance, I have no idea what it is, but the amount of effort, the amount of time people put into this event is always just so much of an inspiration to the industry. And there's so much that comes out of something like this International Builder Show that it's fun.
Yeah.
But it's draining. You need to be present in every one of your meetings. It's draining on you emotionally. For instance, we as a team, three of us that came from the strategic sourcing team at Meritage, we had 66 meetings over, call it 3 days, that all of them were impactful. And I'll tell you, of those 66, I think we had to say no, unfortunately, to just as many as that, where we just didn't have the time.
No, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm actually in the middle of getting ready to teach a class about why it's okay to say no and why you have to say no. Because every time you say yes to someone, you have to say no to someone else, and you have to be strategic to do that. Now, I haven't mentioned your title yet, but you are the Vice President of Strategic Sourcing, correct?
That is correct, yes.
So 66 meetings. Talk about strategy. You have to be present, hyper-present in every single one of them. And like you said, when you're in that meeting that you also have another meeting and another meeting. And you might have to get to the other side of a show, or you might have to take one off-site. How do you stay focused? Because that is like an endurance test that is really, really hard to comprehend for most people. It's like running a marathon at a sprinter's pace almost.
Yeah. First off, it's being organized. And it really starts in the pre-planning of the show. And what I'll tell you is, I made the mistake one of the early times that I came to International Builder Show by just taking meetings. And I was running from Central Hall to West Hall to South Hall, and I was constantly late. And that's one of the things that is my biggest pet peeve is not being on time. So this year I was pretty strategic. I looked at a map. I was able to kind of like coordinate, identify what meetings were in the Central Hall, and then that's where I met for a day, where in the West Hall. So you pre-plan. The second thing that we've done as a company is we're starting to hold our own meetings off-site and asking manufacturers come to us. That allows me to be much more present in the meetings because now I'm not logistically running everywhere, and it's turned out to be valuable. We recently announced an RFP in a certain category here at this show, so we had those companies that were participating in that come to a meeting space that we had at one of the resorts here in Las Vegas. That it just made it so much easier. I felt like I was much more prepared. I felt like I gave a better version of myself to those companies because of the way that I was ready for it. And I had the energy, and I wasn't worrying about, oh man, what time is it? And do I got to get to my next meeting? And do I got to run around? So that was valuable. So, that would be a couple key points that I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's good advice for anybody who is coming to the Builder Show. If it's their first time or their 20th time, that's great advice. And I love what you said. Strategically, putting yourself in a position to be better for whoever it is you're meeting with. It's better for them too. It's not just convenient for you. It's a mutual, beneficial thing for you guys to do that. I love that you guys are doing that. Yeah. How many builder shows have you been to at this point? Do you know?
Oh, it's not. I don't think I've been to more than 10, but it's between 5 and 10 is what I would probably say is the amount that I've been to. It's not a ton in my career.
Yeah.
There's a point that I would tell you that the positions that I had in the organization maybe just wasn't kind of like necessary to be here.
Yeah.
Now, right, I don't think I could get by without coming to a builder show, unfortunately. But it goes a long way. I think being seen at this event is key. Yep. I think that the amount of time that you get to build relationships is real key to strategic partnerships and really investing into from my angle, I invest a lot of the time and energy into my exclusive partnerships that I have with certain companies, and making sure that the transparency is there and the way that we are moving forward in building a long-lasting partnership and not just a transactional relationship with these manufacturers.
Yeah.
I think that is key to making sure that those people, those companies feel valued.
Well, I think you do a great job of that, and it's anecdotal evidence, but we run in the same circles when it comes to different events and everything else. And when you are there, or people know you're going to be there, people get really excited. They're like, Jeff Lear is going to be here. And I think that is a testament to the amount of time that you put into developing those relationships on a personal level as well as the business side. And it's important, right? I think it allows for everybody to do business better, right?
Well, I'll tell you, first off, that's probably the nicest thing I heard all week. So thank you for that comment, right? And hearing that, makes me feel good because it's an effort, right? And there's a lot of people in this industry that I could go on and name that I'm excited when they're at the event as well, because I see the energy they bring to the table.
Yeah.
And that energy in some of those people is just unmatched. And you feel good. You want to be around those people. It's a contagious energy.
Yeah.
So I think it goes a long way.
There's some people that need less energy. I won't name names, but you could probably let your imagination run wild.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you a little bit about, I had some questions for you, obviously, and we're going to talk about them, but how long have you been at Meritage now?
Yeah, so I'm in my 4th year with Meritage Homes.
But you've been in the industry for, what, about 25 years or so?
Yeah, my entire career has been in the industry. I've been with 3 different home builders, all public companies, all what I would say top, call it 7 home builders that are out there from a volume side of things. So I was with one organization, Pulte Group, for 18 years, transitioned into Taylor Morrison for 4 years, and I've been with Meritage for 4 years as well.
So what makes Meritage different for you? Like what's unique that makes you go, man, this is where I should be, and I'm happy to be here?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that I think Meritage does really well.
Yeah.
And, not taken away from anybody else that I've ever worked with, but I will tell you that Meritage really believes and really operates in a family-first mentality. The way that they put their people at the forefront of the organization, the way that they invest in those people, a couple different things they do. One, we have a Meritage Flex, which is a work-from-home strategy that we have in the organization. It is a very easy way in order to give back to employees that, hey, they have to, or they would appreciate working from home. It's basically putting a program in place with your manager about what type of work needs to get done and when are you going to be in the office, when are you going to be home, and it's as easy as that. We have core values within our organization, and those core values are kind of the foundation of how we operate. It is very rewarding to work in an organization that people really believe in those core values. We also have what is called a 24-hour pledge. And you want to talk about a little bit of exhausting, right? But this is a commitment that we have, and I demonstrate this pledge internally and externally. But basically what it says is that we will reply within 24 hours of anybody reaching out to us. So if you have an internal employee, right, that reaches out, the commitment is that, hey, you will get back to that person in 24 hours. And we extend that, or I extend that to our trade base as well, our manufacturing partners as well. So if somebody's reaching out to me, my commitment to them is that, hey, I will get back to you within 24 hours. Sometimes I don't have the answer, right? But it's ultimately just about hearing and saying that, hey, I see the ask, I see what you've reached out about, let me look into it, let me find it out. So I would tell you that all that summed together is really what separates Meritage, right?
Yeah.
Kind of circling this full steam, is really just the people side of it. Our executive leadership from Philippe and Clint and Gila, Javier and Melissa on our team, I don't think there's ever a time that I'm in a conversation where they don't ask about family.
Yeah.
Or there's not a time in one of those conversations that they ask me, how am I doing, right? And not so much about the project that we're talking about or the objective that they are trying to drive. It's more about me as an individual, right? And how am I doing in my personal life, or how am I doing in my career aspirations or stuff like that, right? The investment that they put into them, it starts at the top, and it is felt throughout the entire organization.
Well, and if it helps for everybody watching this and listening to this right now, I got a chance to experience that, and I'm not a Meritage employee, as you know, but I went to it's called the Leadership Institute.
That's correct.
This past year, and it was in San Antonio, Texas, and I got to all those names you were talking about on stage, and you could see the passion that they have for the company. You can see the passion that they have for the people that are in the company, and you guys interacting on stage and after the the show and the meetings, it's palpable. You can actually see it. So it's not just words coming from you. It's something that's actually a part of that culture, which is really cool to see.
Right.
You can see a strong culture in a company. It makes you, even if you don't work there, like, I want to be around that. I want to do business with them. I want to buy the home, whatever it is, right? So speaking of the Leadership Institute, I feel like I have a kinship with you because within Simpson, we have something called the International Sales Meeting. And for the last 5 years, I have been the MC. I've been the host. And you were basically that role. I don't know what the title was, but I was watching you work the room. You're on stage. You're holding the room. Is that a natural thing for you to do? Is that nerve-wracking for you? There's hundreds of people in the audience, and they're looking at you. You got cameras on you. You got a lot to do.
Yeah.
Talk me through that process.
Yeah, so a couple things, right? First off, it's interesting. I talked to my wife prior to going to it, right? And, a little stressed maybe going into the event type thing. And she's like, why? What's, and my feedback to her, right, when is like, hey, nothing that I do at this event is going to, promote my career.
Right.
But I have an opportunity to drastically do something bad for my career, right? Being on stage and doing something.
That's a good point. I never thought about
it. Right? But no, honestly, when I look at it, man, I think that I've grown up just chasing adrenaline is really what it is, right? I mean, from skydiving to swimming to sharks to, riding a bicycle at 60 miles an hour. I don't know, right? I always am chasing kind of adrenaline. And there is that bit of adrenaline that you get before you go on stage, right? And I think that that's good. I recently heard, I think it was a podcast or something like that. Somebody was talking about public speaking for individuals is just as like cleansing to the body as like this cold plunge.
Yes.
That's kind of taken over right now, right? Which is kind of crazy, man. I never thought of it that way. So maybe it's some of that. But to get back to your answer, I think preparation is key, right? I mean, if you feel prepared when you go on stage and you're confident in what you're talking about, all day long, I feel that, hey, I can go out on stage and perform. If you put me on stage and I don't know what I'm talking about, I think I would be a nervous wreck, right? And I don't think that I would ultimately do a good job. But I have a great team at Meritage that supports me before I get on stage. There's individuals that are working with me on cues and working with me on confidence monitors and stuff like that, right? That help me. It's all you got to do is go up and execute is really what it is.
Do you use the confidence monitors? I find that I never look at them, which I probably should.
Yeah, no, I use them. There's cues that I take off the confidence monitors for sure. That there's certain sayings that I put up there and will remind me to kind of like bring it. I'm a pretty fast talker, and so I find that I need to slow down in those situations. And when I'm in a fast kind of rhythm on stage, what I find sometimes is that I forget things, and that now I'm on to the next topic, and I'm not good at circling back. So the confidence monitors to me help me ensure that I hit on the points, especially when you're talking about business objectives and you're wanting to make sure that you have a certain point that you want to get across, right? That is more when I'll use them, right? I mean, the instance that you saw, right, one of the great opportunity that I had a chance to interview Desmond Howard on stage. That was
amazing.
Right, which was a blast. I mean, he was somebody that I grew up with as a childhood fan of University of Michigan football, and so it was rewarding for me to be able to speak to him. That type of it, no, not at all, right? No confidence monitor needed. Like, let me get on stage and let me do my thing. But there are certain times that I will use it.
The story of him and how he ultimately decided to hit the Heisman pose. I can't do it justice, but that was a good 20-minute story, and I was like, that is an amazing story. If I take nothing else, I'm going to take that story with me and just everything that went into that. That was incredible. I appreciate you doing that because that was a lot of fun for me.
I'd heard that story or maybe read that story before, and I didn't know if he would go to it or not, right? So I'm on stage. We'll back up a little bit. Before I had the opportunity to talk with Desmond, we send him questions or whatever, right? And we get to the morning kind of like pre-show, and I'm talking with him and introducing myself, and I'm like, hey, by the way, I never heard back on the questions. Are they all good? He's like, yeah, they're all good. So I go and I don't ask him the first question that I sent.
Yeah.
But he responds to me with the first question that I sent. So I'm all now thrown off a little bit, right? Being like, oh, shoot, did I throw him off by not asking these questions in order type thing? Anyways, he handled it like a pro, like he is. Obviously, he's good on his feet. He's on TV all the time. I mean, he definitely managed to do it. But yeah, it was fun to pull the instance of the Heisman pose that he did out of him, because I knew about it and I just didn't know if he'd go there or not in it. But I think he felt comfortable enough with the audience. Maybe he felt comfortable enough with me in the way that I was talking with him, and we got it out of him. So it was good.
It's definitely incredible. We'll kind of shift back a little bit to the business side of everything. Although I could sit here and talk college football with you all day, and I'm sure that would probably go over our allotted time on the podcast. I think we probably have a lot of strong conversations about college ball. So talk to me about Meritage's strategy now, because you guys unveiled that strategy, I think, either right before that Leadership Institute or I can't remember the exact timing there, but we've got a little bit of time since then. Tell everybody what it is and how it's going so far.
Yeah, so let's even back up a little bit further, right? You look back at Meritage's maybe 7 years ago, we as a company started down this journey of going towards a spec strategy. Mm-hmm. And in that spec strategy, we definitely pulled back on the amount of SKUs that we were putting into our homes. We went to packages and collections. We had a very curated approach. We had a efficient kind of go-to-market strategy in the way that we operate. So not a lot of complexity in the way that we build homes, not a lot of complexity in our option programming. It was very streamlined and to the point. So that was kind of an evolution over what I would say 6 years of time. In 2023, we had introduced a new strategy to the organization. Internally, we start to socialize that, hey, here is a new strategy that really kind of has 3 main pillars, which is speed, reach, and compete. And I'll get into each one of those, but just again to kind of like, to speak positively about Meritage and the organization, you introduce or socialize this strategy back in 2023 is when it was. Yeah. 2024 was all then about getting it kind of like into the organization. Yeah. So in 2023, you socialized it with leadership. 2024, you start to then get it down to everybody in the company. They allow to provide feedback into the strategy. And then there was also game planning that went on in 2024. As a company, we needed to execute for this strategy by the end of the year. So now in 2025, we're fully engaged into the strategy and up and running with it. So it wasn't something that happened overnight, which I think is a very big testament, again, to our executive team that had the vision of saying, okay, we're going to transform the organization with a new strategy, and we're not going to do it overnight. Yeah. We're going to have a period of time that this gets implemented. From a speed, reach, and compete standpoint, the 3 pillars are kind of taglined into, first off is speed. Speed is from a cycle time perspective, how quickly are we able to build homes? But the speed side also is about the way that we are going after our customers and being able to connect with them. The reach is, as far as getting the customers, it is a move-in ready strategy. Yeah. So what I mean by that on the speed side is that we felt that as a company, we wanted to differentiate from, maybe not from other home builders, but we wanted to compete with the resale market. Yeah. And in the competing with the resale market, we felt there was a few different things that we wanted to do on the interior specifications. One is that we started to have laundry standards. So washer and dryer, we put in every single home now. The second thing is that we put refrigeration. So we put a refrigerator in every home. And then the third thing is that we've got window blinds that go into every home as well. Yeah. Those 3 aspects of a new construction is unheard of. No other, from our lens, no other builder does that. But what we felt our competition was resale. And nowadays, when you go and buy your resale home, you usually are getting washer, dryer, refrigeration, laundry standard in those homes. So we wanted to make sure that our interior specifications was matching who we felt our competition was. From a reach standpoint, we've really kind of started to look at the realtor industry that's out there and leaned very heavily into our relationships with realtors. We feel that since our biggest competitor is resale, and mostly a person going out and buying a resale home is operating with some sort of realtor, we wanted to make sure that Meritage's brand and our strategy was made known to the realtor base out there.
Makes sense.
So we partnered with realtors a lot more and have some strategic alignment along those realtor base. The second thing is that we also redefined the way that we sell our homes, just in regards to how we no longer are operating with salespeople at an individual community. Our salespeople can now sell a home across multiple communities. Much different than kind of, again, the normal industry that's out there. Usually you have a sales team that operates out of a community. They're part of a community team that interacts with their construction team, maybe a customer care or warranty team as well. And that's the only homes that they're selling is within that community.
Yeah.
Because of our 100% spec strategy, we are not doing that. We ultimately are saying, hey, as a salesperson, you have the ability to connect with homes in your community or homes across what we are calling a geographical area within the market type of thing. So that's reach. Last is compete, right? So from a compete standpoint, we've introduced a 60-day closing ready guarantee.
Yeah.
So what this means is that when we go to sale with our homes, 100% spec, all of our homes are starting as a spec, we're not going to put that home on the market, we're not going to start offering it for sale until we can ensure that that home will be ready, closing ready in 60 days. Now, I didn't say a closing guarantee because ultimately the consumer's got to make sure that they uphold their end of the contract from a financing or lending or whatever is going to happen in order to close a home. But we are ultimately going to provide that guarantee to the customer that, hey, you can have a home ready for closing within 60 days. So that's kind of the three different pillars on speed, reach, and compete that we've introduced in the strategy. Each market is at a different journey in the implementation of this.
Yeah.
In 2024, each of them each one of our divisions ultimately had a say as to when they were going to implement this. So some started it, call it first quarter of 2024, and some waited until December of 2024 in order to start operating on it. So, as a company, we're still in the evolution of being able to evaluate it and provide real context as to the direction of the strategy.
No, I'm glad you went through that because at that same Leadership Institute that we're talking about, that was, I think, the first time, at least, that it sunk into my brain with regards to, okay, from Meritage standpoint, sure, we have other home builders that we're competing against, but the resale market is also a challenge.
Right.
And when you think about it, if you are buying a home, you want to move into that home. You're inspired, regardless of what home it is, and you want to move in and you want it to be ready to go as quickly as possible. Moving into a home is exhausting. It's tiresome, and the last thing you want to really think about is get in there and go, okay, now I need all of these other things. And if you're buying a brand new home, you're excited through the whole process, but you're usually ready to go, and I want to get in there quickly.
Yeah.
And as a new home builder, if you can provide that, that is amazing. That does set you guys apart.
Yeah, to add on to that, our targeted consumer group is a first-time buyer.
Okay.
So a lot of our consumers, or the majority of our consumers, are coming from, let's call it a rental space, right? So when you're in a rental space, it's 100% move-in ready. You're moving into that apartment or whatever rental, and you're day one ready, right? From a new construction standpoint, a lot of people don't think that, hey, I need window coverings day one, right? Like, hey, I've moved into this brand new home, I'm super excited about it, and I ultimately am giving my kid a bath, and all of a sudden, right, like I haven't thought through this totally type thing. Having that first-time buyer definitely resonates with our strategy as well.
Right on. Well, we're sitting here with Mr. Jeff Lear from Meritage Homes. We're just having a strong conversation, talking shop. We're here at the International Builder Show in Las Vegas, Nevada. I know you got to catch a plane soon. You were a busy man. I know where you're going, and you got that, like I said, sprinter mentality in a marathon race going on here. A couple other questions. So outside of Meritage, but you've been in this industry, like you said, basically your whole career. Well, before I do that, was the plan always to go into this side of the business, or did you have a different thought growing up as to what you were going to be?
Yeah, I never had I don't have a good story of how I got into home building, honestly. It was kind of, ultimately I fell into home building in my college days. And okay. I started what you would call an internship, even though it wasn't really called an internship. I started working part-time for a builder. And then I'll tell you what, though, I never left the industry because of strong mentors that I had within the industry. So it was key to me to have people very early in my career that that took a liking to me or took a liking to my career or helped me along the way. And those mentors are ultimately the ones that kept me in the industry.
Did you seek out mentors, or was it just something that you naturally clicked with people, or did you think they sought you out? They saw something and said, "We're going to help"?
Yeah, I think that every one of the mentors that I pull on today, that some of these mentors I would tell you are still individuals that I had very early in my career. I think there's an evolution as you go through your career that sometimes you pass along mentors and they help at different stages of the career. But there's a couple of them that have stayed around a long time. I don't think I ever sought anybody out. I don't think that was kind of how these came about. I think it just was naturally in the way that the relationships formed and the opportunities that I had. And that kind of just blossomed into the way that I've been able to get the help that I've needed.
Now, you've been here 25 years, like you said, in the industry. Are you on the other side of that coin now? Are you mentoring other people? Are you seeing talent and going, I want to help that person?
I mean, I try to, for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely take a heightened sense of wanting to connect with people and giving help and support. I don't think there's anything more rewarding in my career than seeing people get promoted, than seeing people get the aspirations that they have. It's one of the passions that I have, for sure, within this business, is one, the amount of people you get to connect with, and two, helping those people grow into what they want to be.
Awesome. Well, I got 3 questions for you, Jeff. One's kind of a serious one. The other ones we're just going to have some fun with. But we're here in 2025. We're at the end of February. We got a little bit of, the year behind us now. What is everything telling you? What are the indicators out there? Are we happy for the rest of the year? What's making you optimistic for the rest of 2025?
Yeah, I had an answer in my head until you said optimistic, because I was going to go the opposite direction.
Well, it doesn't have to be. Go the other way.
I'll tell you, we are staring right into this tariff situation, and it's been the talk of this entire show, right? The International Builders Show. I don't think I've had one conversation without the word tariff brought into it. So that is going to be the main concern for the next 30 to 60 days, and then who knows how long after that.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that that's the biggest challenge that we're facing as an industry today. January was a little bit rough. The first half of January, from an industry standpoint, just in regards to sales, I think the back half of January found its sea legs, to sort of speak, and February's been what I would say to our expectation.
Okay.
So as a company, we have definitely strong expectations for 2025. We have a tremendous strategy that is separating us from other builders. We definitely have the right people in place.
Yeah.
So all of that makes me very optimistic that I'm with the right company and that we've got the right direction in order to execute and be strong in 2025. It's the outside influencers that's going to really test us throughout the year. It's going to start with tariffs. It's going to continue with price pressure. And then as an organization, somehow, some way, we got to figure out this affordability issue. And we've got to make sure that people are doing everything they can in order to ensure that the homes that we are building are affordable for the people that need them.
100%. I couldn't have said it better myself, and I'm glad that you said it and not me, because my voice here on day 3 is towards the end, and we're towards the end of the Strong Conversations podcast with Jeff Lear. I got 2 questions for you. I know you're moving on. You're leaving Las Vegas. I am staying in Las Vegas for another night. So what are your recommendations for dinner tonight? I got one shot at dinner tonight. Where are you sending me? What's the recommendation?
Oh, man. This might say too much about me, but listen, I went to Poppy's Steakhouse inside Fontainebleau.
Okay.
And I had one of the best experiences at that dinner. You got to go with the right group of people.
Okay.
But I know you well enough, Sam, that 1, you surround yourself with great people, and 2, that you probably will be leading kind of the energy in that dinner. But you talk about exceptional service. You talk about just a fun environment and fun atmosphere. The food is good as well. But yeah, I'd probably send you there if you are in the right mindset. You said it's day 3 or day 4, whatever it is, right? And if you're not looking for something energetic and something that's really gonna, definitely be a memorable experience, then that I would tell you not to go there, right? But that is one that I would recommend.
I'm gonna look that one up. I've never heard of that, so I appreciate that. Mentoring me here on the show. He's taken the pole position. Last question.
Yeah.
You could win $1 million, but you have to play some sort of casino game. You get to pick the game. Which one are you playing and why?
Yeah, so interesting question, right? So being in Las Vegas this week, The tables have been good to me, is what I'll tell
Okay.
you. So it's been a fun experience here as it relates to it. But I'll say this to you. So you said one hand,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about, or one opportunity to win $1 million. So, you know, a lot of people would go to roulette and say,
Yep.
hey, red, black. Unfortunately, those odds are at like 42% if you went there, right? And the house has a like 5.6% edge on that red, black. So don't go play red, black, all right? So next off, you start to think, okay, a lot of people like blackjack, right?
Yeah.
So, and if you know blackjack strategy, right, which there's plenty of books out there that you can read and understand and learn the strategy. Well, if you play the strategy right, your odds go up to like, I think it's 44%. So it's a little bit better than the red black, but
Okay.
still not the best answer and still where you do not need to go.
All right.
All right.
This is fascinating. I love this.
What you need to go do, the best odds to play $1 million, is you got to go play craps.
Craps.
And it's the pass, no pass line. So if you went there, don't play all the other odds that are on the table, right? You have $1 million, you're putting it on pass or don't pass. And that ultimately gives you just under 48%. It's 47 point something percent odds of winning. So if you have $1 million, you go play pass or no pass. Obviously, everybody at the table always cheers for the pass line, so my recommendation would go play the pass.
I like doing don't pass just because you get to be the bad guy, but you get to be happy.
Yeah.
I don't know how you got the job as VP of Strategic Sourcing from Meritage Homes. Fantastic analytical breakdown. I think that's the best answer I have gotten so far with that question. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Coming in with day one energy on day three. I appreciate it. Jeff Lear, Meritage Homes, thank you very much for being here on the Strong Conversations podcast. Stay tuned. We got even more content coming. Day 3 here at the IBS 2025 in Las Vegas.